My post is called Invisible. Since my son was born in 2002, I have had a lot of bad days. Watching him get taken to surgery 9 times, seeing catheters shoved into places that boys shouldn't have catheters shoved, and watching him get stuck for IVs so many times that I've lost count, and seeing him almost die twice will tend to make every day feel like a Monday. There have been so many struggles that parents of a typical child can't even imagine. And before someone comes along and tells me that I'm fortunate that my son can walk and talk, I will say that I know we are lucky. I have spent enough time around children in the hospital to know that things could be horrifically worse. But there have been struggles. It took 13 months before tube feeding wasn't an ever-looming threat, and it took 18 months before he took his first step. That was after weekly physical and occupational therapy appointments, and more genetics tests than even the geneticists knew existed. He is almost 9, and he vomited while eating just yesterday. He can't button his own pants. We found out last week that he needs hearing aids. As a parent, you fight through these situations. You modify his surroundings, you buy him Velcro shoes, you cut his bites into little pieces. You quite simply adapt. But there are certain challenges where there is no fix. My son is not only medically different from his peers, but also physically, emotionally, behaviorally, and socially. He is tiny, quirky, and the most unique individual I have ever known. Most adults appreciate him for who he is. Most kids don't. For the past 6 weeks, my son has been enrolled in a basketball camp at his school. This was more of a social exercise than an athletic one, as my 9-year-old weighs only 43 pounds. Over the last month, my boy learned to dribble and bounce pass, and he learned how to play one heck of a man-to-man defense. He had fun, and he tried his best. He has no idea that I sat in the stands and cried this afternoon because I watched every kid on the court look right through him when it came time to pass a teammate the ball. My husband knew I was crying as he sat detaching himself from the situation, but I told him that it was making me sad to watch, and he replied, "I know, it's awful." I can't fault the boys. They're young, and they wanted to win. They were smart enough to know that my son couldn't make a basket. If he was on the other side of the ball as a typical child, he would have probably done the same thing. But he wasn't on the other side of the ball, and he is not a typical child. I watched him holding his hands in the air, waiting for a pass for over an hour. He got a chance to dribble twice when one of the parent volunteers told one of the boys to pass him the ball. He loved those few fleeting seconds. I could see the pride in his face. As a parent, you want your child to shine, not be ignored. You want the world to see what you see. That inside the quirky kid is a funny, smart, gentle soul. It is so hard to have a child like mine, but it is also very special. It's a joy to see him succeed and to go to places I never thought possible. To me, he is a gigantic force in the universe. But to the boys on the basketball court, he is but a speck. Thanks.